Hello and welcome to Quays News. I'm Penny James.
And I'm Adam Bysouth.
Our top story today, 2 former Foreign Secretaries have been caught up in a cash for access scandal.
The Labour MP for Blackburn, Jack Straw, and Conservative MP Malcolm Rifkind were secretly filmed by Channel 4 show Dispatches, offering their contacts and experience to help a fake Hong Kong company in exchange for cash. Both men deny any wrongdoing.
Now our political correspondent Dan McLaughlin is here. So Dan, has there been any more development on the story?
Yes, this morning Sir Malcolm Rifkind has announced that he will stand down as Conservative MP at the next general election. He said in his statement that he did intend to run for another term, but he's going to stand down at this next general election. Both men have been suspended from the party whips, so Jack Straw no longer has the support of the Parliamentary Labour Party as well.
Now, how have Labour reacted to this, Dan?
Yeah, Labour leader Ed Miliband has wrote to the Prime Minister asking him to ban MPs taking second jobs. Now, obviously, this wouldn't have happened if the MPs had been banned from that already. The Green Party leader, Natalie Bennett, has also said she wants to ban MPs having second jobs. Jack Straw, he may take a job with a firm he helped get government support of about 75 million after the general election. So that's not a second job, but also it's a cash for access scandal that he had the influence there.
So this is quite bad timing, obviously, with the general election looming. Everyone wants to look really good, and this has all sort of come out. So what are other parties talking about at the moment?
Well, every party is talking about everything. With the general election, we're getting a sweep of information. But something that's come out this week is the Times newspaper has reported on Ed Ball's proposal to reduce tuition fees from £9,000 to £6,000. They've called it the Labour plan's pension raid to fund lower tuition fees. Now, this term raid, it's not much of a raid, it's a reduction of tax breaks for higher earners. It's worth noting that the Chancellor George Osborne said that he wanted to reduce tax breaks in his 2014 budget. Now, with tuition fees, it's coming to light now that raising them actually might make it not financially viable for the government. The proportion of graduates failing to pay back the loans is increasing at such rate that the Treasury is approaching the point that it will get zero financial reward.
So we're talking a lot about the young people.
Yeah.
It feels, though, that young people might not benefit in this general election. David Cameron wants to keep perks for pensioners.
Yeah.
You know, why is it that the older people are sort of receiving more
It's
attention?
because the older people vote and the younger people don't. In Salford, everyone who was 65 plus, there was a 76% voter turnout. 18 to 25-year-olds, it was 44%. They'll pamper to those who are voting because that's where the power lies.
Brilliant. Well, we'll see what happens in May. Thanks for that, Dan.
Yeah, thanks very much for that, Dan. Roads have been closed in Salford after reports of gunfire in the Broughton area. Police have closed Frederick Road and Heath Avenue after receiving a 999 call last night.
Forensic experts are at the scene carrying out a full investigation and no injuries have been reported.
Detectives are hunting for a man who violently raped a woman near Manchester city centre. The man has been described as having a strong Newcastle accent, and police have released an e-fit in an appeal for information and are urging anyone with any information to use contact details on screen now.
CCTV images have been released of 4 people following a violent assault on a 31-year-old man. The victim was assaulted outside the Manchester nightclub Panacea. Images have been released of a man who police wish to trace in connection with the attack, as well as 2 other female witnesses.
Now over to John with the latest sport in Greater Manchester.
Good afternoon. 2 Titans clashed in a crucial fixture in the Aviva Premiership as Sale Sharks took on Saracens. The London team currently sit 3rd in the league and look set to make the top 4 playoffs, but could Sale get a vital win and make a late push for the playoffs?
Sharks' biggest game of the season has arrived as they host high-flying Saracens in an attempt to break into the top 4. Sale hadn't won against Saracens since 2010, but came into the match on the back of a 3-game winning streak. Saracens were dealt a massive blow before the game as England fly half Charlie Hodgson pulled up with injury during the warm-up. Sharks were boosted by the return of fans' favourite Danny Cipriani as they attempted to bridge the gap between themselves and their opponents. Saracens were feeling the effect of Hodgson's absence as they missed the chance to gain an early lead through deputy kicker Alex Good's penalty miss. Good redeemed himself soon after on the 16th minute as Saracens opened the scoring with a converted penalty. The Sharks' response was immediate, as within 4 minutes of Good's penalty, Chris Kessiter spread the ball crossfield to Sammy Tuatupu to run in the try. Saracens' test got a whole lot tougher as they were reduced to 14 men on the half-hour mark as Jack Spurger was sin-binned for a no-arm tackle on Jones. This reflected on Saracens having the worst discipline record in the league with 12 yellows and 15. Sharks increased their lead just before half-time and went into the break 14-3 up as Jonathan Mills bundled over the line to score with Cipriani, converting for the second time. Sarries eventually registered a late try through Richard Barrington, but proved no more than a consolation as the Sharks held out for a vital victory. Reece Chaplin, Quays News.
Now, a move you'd normally see in wrestling would be a body slam. However, this wasn't the case in Stockport's game against Worcester City on Saturday. Stockport midfielder Charlie Russell was subjected to an extremely violent slam following his tackle on Worcester's Shab Khan. That left him writhing around on the floor winded. The slam, unsurprisingly, earned him a red card. Elsewhere in non-league, Salford took on Prescott Cables, looking to continue their title tilt. Lewis Smith has more.
Started brightly and Gareth Seddon opened the scoring early on, bursting into the box and applying a good finish. Danny Webber then doubled Salford's lead with a bouncing shot from outside the area. Wood made it free on the 38th minute with a headed goal from a corner. There was still time for one more goal in the first half when Grant Spencer finished from long range. Prescott made a better start after the break when Mason Ryan won a penalty. Coolly converted by Jack Phillips. Salford soon returned to dominance, however, when Jordan Hume went on to make it 5. Adam Morning rounded off the scoring on a good day for the title-chasing Annies.
Plenty of action in the non-leagues this weekend, with a number of Greater Manchester teams strengthening their promotion pushes. In the Conference, however, it was defeat for Altrincham at Bristol Rovers. In the Conference North, Bottom Club Hyde earned a good point at home to Flyde. In the Northern Premier, FC United moved within a point of top spot with a 3-1 win at Belper. In the Northern Division 1, Salford strengthened their place at the top with a 6-1 win over Prescott Cables. That's all for the sport today. Catch us next Tuesday for more.
Thanks for that, John. Now, as well as seeing us on your screen, we're also available online. Don't forget to check out our website, keysnews.net, to keep up with all the latest around Greater Manchester.
Now, LGBT coverage in museums might not be something you think about often, but the People's History Museum in Manchester have been looking at the LGBT archives.
With everything from the lesbian and gay support to miners' movement to the Communist Party, we take a look at the importance of preserving LGBT history.
Each month, the People's History Museum does a snapshot event. This month, the focus is on the history of the LGBT community.
Well, archives are sort of the official story that's kept. And there's so many different interesting stories of LGBT history throughout British history, really, and particularly in Manchester, because we're still quite radical. And archives safeguard that story. We've got the archive of the lesbian and gay support the miners, which was that, the Pride film that just came out. That's about that, which is really good. We've got lots of things from the Communist Party archive. They had a lot of involvement with LGBT and particularly homosexual rights and movements and involvement. So we've got lots of different things of that, like committees and correspondence. We've got the archive of Peter Tatchell's Outrage magazine, and there's photographs and pamphlets and different things spotted all over the place.
I actually did like the lesbian and gay support the miners because I do remember the miners' strike very well, and it I think if it's a lot of the stuff here, depending on your age, is stuff that you remember from your own life. And that had an effect on you going on marches, or even if you just read about it or heard about it, and particularly if you lived in a mining area. It's amazing what seeing the first-hand documents means to you rather than filtered through somebody's interpretation. And I really particularly like that because it's still very vivid in my own memory. People's history, that's what it's about. You know, people's experiences. It's not just kings, queens, and prime ministers. It's what happened to individuals, really.
Due to the increased use of social networking, archivists are now trying to come up with new ways to document events that are happening over the internet rather than in reality.
But something that I'd quite like to do was to use the opportunity with, like, you know, social media and people doing it, it's getting so much more easily involved, is to do that, use that community to do it themselves. So have sort of archive expertise and heritage expertise to help the communities demonstrate and sort of exhibit themselves.
Archives are vital to preserve our history, and the People's History Museum play an important role in that. But with the continuous development of technology, will archiving like this be possible in the future?
Now, this weekend was certainly a biggie on the film calendar, and Tom is here to tell us more. Tom, of course, it was the Oscars this weekend. What happened?
Well, yeah, it was the Oscars this weekend on Sunday. Birdman actually won the big two this year. It took Best Director with Alejandro Iñárritu, which I actually agree with. I think that of all the pictures nominated, that certainly was the most directed, if you know what I mean. I think actually though the biggest surprise is Best Picture, which again was won by Birdman. Most people expected Richard Linklater's Boyhood to win. It was certainly the bookies' favourite. Now I know a lot of people actually before the film started to turn against it. You yourself.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, you were telling me before you didn't like it.
I didn't know.
The public turned against it as well. There was a lot of jokes in the press about the 12 years. I mean, 12 years to make, all that. I mean, I myself have made that joke. But now, again, you've seen this turnaround and Boyhood's becoming popular again, and there's even talk from Richard Linklater of a sequel. What's he going to call it? You know, Boyhood 2, Return of the Boy, you know, like silly things like that. But for me, the thing that I'm happiest about is British talent winning big. Eddie Redmayne, for his portrayal of Stephen Hawking, won Best Actor, and for me, completely the right choice. I mean, an absolutely wonderful performance, a transformation. I know that's a cliche, and I hate to use cliches, but it was a transformation. There were times when you were watching the film and you honestly thought, I'm watching Stephen Hawking. Absolutely incredible. In terms of Best Actress, Julianne Moore, I've only ever seen her in other things. She won for Still Alice, which isn't out in the UK yet, but it will be out in March, and I can't wait to see it. I've heard a lot about a woman diagnosed with early onset dementia. Looks absolutely amazing. Can't wait to see it. Again, the one thing that I'm really upset about is the Lego Movie missing out on Best Original Song. It was nominated for Everything Is Awesome, the best song ever. It actually lost out to Glory to Selma, which of course is from the film Selma. Selma's a beautiful film, really nice song, but it isn't Everything Is Awesome. You know, that is the best song I've heard in film.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for that, Tom. We'll have to leave it there. Now it's over to Kate, though, with your local forecast.
Good afternoon. Now, it's a very windy night last night, and it looks like we're entering some rather unsettled weather over the next few days. Today's not looking any better though, unfortunately. A little sunshine creeping in, but windy with showers and possible thunder, highs of around 6 degrees. The showers will continue to ease throughout the night, and clearer breaks will start to develop, so it's a little cloudy, wet and very breezy start to tomorrow morning. Although those winds will be easing off throughout the day, the rain eventually clears out of the way, moving on to Thursday now, where it seems a much brighter day and generally drier day with clear spells, so it looks like we might have had the worst of the weather out of the way before the weekend.
That's all we have time for today. Don't miss our special global news programme this Thursday at the new time of 5 p.m.
You can also find us on Twitter @Quays News. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Thursday. Goodbye.